Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the DubaiLife Podcast. It's the start of a new week here in Dubai and a new month. Can you actually believe it? We're now in May. Where the hell has 2020 gone so far? I don't know. I've been out this weekend on viewings in Dubai Hills, and yes, it's official. It's absolutely roasting here in Dubai. The summer is well and truly kicking in. So on the show today, we have a good friend of mine and actually former colleague, Mr. Nick Purvis. If you've been living in Dubai for a while, then you would have 100% heard of or perhaps visited one of the Candypants parties. Nick is the guy that helped start this whole craze off in Dubai. He's the current marketing director and host of the new Candypants podcast that can be found alongside the DubaiLife Podcast on Apple, Spotify, and any other platform you use. So definitely go and check out the Candypants podcast. But first, let's get into it. Richard, come on then. How's your weekend been? How's your week going? What's been happening, my friend?
Hi, Liam. How are you?
I'm really well.
Good. Yeah, it's similar to you. We're seeing the ease off of restrictions, aren't we now?
Yeah.
So while we're not shouting about, yeah, great, summer's here, let's get out and party and play, you know, we are seeing a lot more activity out there, and our business is picking up, isn't it? I mean, like you, I've been out viewing for the first time, not getting too close to my clients, which probably is a good thing from them. But we're elbow bumping from afar, the air bumping from afar, and all this kind of stuff.
That's a good question, actually. How are you handling that awkward stage where you used to shake someone's hand and greet them? What are you going with? Are you
funny, isn't it? No, it's funny because it's just almost, it doesn't feel awkward. You know, whereas before, you know, old school, you give a nice firm handshake, not too firm, strong handshake, look them in the eye and say, hi, I'm Richard, pleased to meet you, and all this. Nowadays, it's just, you know, from a 6 foot distance, hi, pleased to meet you. We make a joke of like bumping elbows, and then we're away from there. But again, there hasn't been that awkwardness, etc. And if anything, you've got to remember in the middle of a viewing or at the end of the viewing to keep your social distance, to keep your mask high, and then just take from there. But again, the world adapts, isn't it? We all, even this old dog, can adapt to new things quite quickly.
You've adapted quite well. It seems like it's almost a bit of an icebreaker, isn't it? Bit of a joke, you know.
Yeah,
can't shake hands, but nice to meet you.
It's good, isn't it? But as you said, summer's here, isn't it? You know, in the last few days, the heat of summer has kicked in. I mean, I was out in Jumeirah Golf Estates this morning, starting at 9 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock it was warm. And by the time I finished at 11 o'clock, I was on the last sort of chat and breakdown of what happened in the 2 hours previous. I was looking for shade under a tree because I'm follically challenged, shall we say, at the back. So believe me, I wanted some shade on my top of my head. Summer is here. So typical way, isn't it? They'll probably open the beaches now when it's like, you know, roasting hot and too hot to be used. But I think we are getting there. I think, you know, throughout the world, we are beginning to see restrictions lifted, and Dubai's no different. Yeah,
I have to agree. It's the big thing for me was being locked away in my one-bed apartment for the last 5 weeks. We kind of missed the last. I think April is usually the last good month of fair weather, and then, you know, it just seems to be particularly humid at the moment. And the weekend was absolutely a shock. I was sweating like crazy. No more suits for me, I've decided. I'm going with the shorts and shirt combo.
Yeah, and indeed, isn't that another way? I mean, I've been out again. Like, I hope our bosses aren't listening, but again, I'm not wearing suits and ties anymore. I'm not, you know, because again, it does count to a certain measure. As soon as you get out of the car, the first impressions do count. Okay, so of course, you know, you get out your car in a nice suit or shirt and tie, but the minute a good broker opens his mouth, there's so many bad brokers in Dubai. The public go, do you know what? You know, he looks like one of us, because they'll be in shorts and t-shirts and flip-flops. He looks like one of us, but more to the point, he talks sense. I hate seeing dandy brokers who turn up looking like a dandy and yet haven't got a first clue about product, about product knowledge. You know, again, I'll turn up in my polo shirt, my shorts, etc. I still think I look quite presentable. But hopefully within the first sort of 2 minutes, 1 minute even, people think, you know what, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's worth listening to. So again,
That's what really
but
counts.
what I'm trying to go back to is, before we had to wear suit and ties and top button buttoned up, etc.
Yeah.
But it's about the quality of service, about the information we can give to our clients.
When it comes down to it, you're exactly right. And I like to wear a suit and look presentable, but during the summer months, I can't do it anymore. It's just too much. And even the clients, we turn up, especially when you're viewing villas with no AC. Even the clients will be completely shocked that you've come in a suit, and it's just not practical, is it?
Yeah. I started in Arabian ranches, and I arrived in Dubai in I think I started work on March the 1st. So after my training, I was let loose about June time on my own. And in those days, I used to meet 4 clients, and we'd do about 4 villas each for each client. And of course, the minute you move out of the villa, you turn off the AC to get your DEWA deposit back. So of course, these are concrete boxes just soaking in, sort of 45 degrees worth of sun.
Yeah.
Outside it's 55 or 50, inside it's 65. And instantly, no matter what you wear, hence always wear dark clothes if you're going to go to do viewings in empty villas. Instantly, it was like somebody turned a tap on, and and I don't glow or sweat too profusely, I must admit. Yeah. But other clients and even myself, we were just drenched, and it's quite dangerous as well. I can remember that day doing 16 viewings. By the end of the day, I couldn't even get myself at the stairs. I was on the last villa viewing. I was saying, "Look, help yourself, go upstairs." And I got home and I felt so ill. I sat under the aircon, huge big litre of water, rehydrating. So again, summer's coming. Be sensible. Yeah. No matter who you are in Dubai, be sensible, because if you don't know, it'll creep up and get you. And it's not pleasant. It really isn't, the sun.
It's not, is it? I remember back in the day, a couple of years ago, getting onto the Sidra site for viewings when there weren't even any roads. And just walking through the sand in a suit was one of the worst days in my real estate experience here in Dubai. But I've got the video.
I've got the video. I can see you sort of emerging from the distance in your suit, over dunes, over sand.
Exactly. If you go down my Instagram enough, you get to a picture where the AC actually broke in the middle of July, driving on Sheikh Zayed Road. The AC broke in my car, and it was absolutely awful. It was like I was sat in a sauna in the middle of traffic with a suit on, pants stuck to the seat. It was awful, and there was just no. You open the window, and then it blows hot air in. You close the window, and it's just like a sauna. There's just no break from
escape.
It. It's awful. Do you know what? One question I always have here is, right, so obviously electric's amazing and it helps us all survive. But what about in the day, the locals living here in the Middle East with no electric, no cold water, no AC? I think it would be impossible.
But here's the thing, isn't it? Here's the thing. Necessity is the mother of all invention. Yeah. And you go back to the Heritage Centre in Dubai, which is very interesting, and they're actually spending good money in turning into a tourist attraction. Yeah. You actually see the original wind towers, and I'm talking in Naif, I think it is, Al Das, the 2 barrios. I wouldn't recommend that we go rushing there today, but these are the historical areas of Dubai on the creek, and this is where the original heritage houses of Dubai were, and they've got the wind towers, and they built the towers to attract the wind in, and then as the wind came down the towers, they had wet soaking material to pick up the wind, which were fanning, and then that would blow the cold air, because the wind hitting the cold wet material would then blow cold air through the living quarters. Wow. So that's how they did it. That's amazing. How they did it.
So that's how it survived. I've always wondered that, and I mean, it's not going to be like anything we've got today, but it must have just been enough to get by. Yeah.
And apparently it was a British guy who brought the first generator to Dubai in about the 1950s, I think, after the Second World War. So it could be late 40s, early 50s. And he had fun and games getting the first generator, again, on the creek in the old part of town, up and running, and all the local people being absolutely fascinated with electricity and being generated from this generator. Yeah, it was. So hence our relatively close ties to this day, which in fact brings me on nicely to another nice tie from our past and to our future with what Sheikh Mohammed's just done, which I've just remembered.
You linked that in extremely well, like a pro.
Thank you, Liam. Thank you. We're getting good at this, aren't we? We're getting good at this. Indeed. Yeah.
So tell us about that then. What's been going on?
Seriously. Sheikh Mohammed, he's very kindly bought and sent 60 tons of personal protection equipment to the UK.
Amazing.
So again, as an act of solidarity between two old friends that have seen the good times and bad times together, that, you know, he's standing square with us, which again is humanitarian, isn't it?
It's amazing. It's so nice to see, and it just reinforces what people don't always see living back home in the UK. We've said it before many times, just the tolerance and the acceptance that's here in Dubai, and just it's brilliant. Really great gesture.
Here in Dubai, you know, it is a society where, you know, success is welcomed, hard work is welcomed, go get. But having said that, on the flip side, there is a caring side and there is a lot of support. Another thing that caught my eye this week was, you might have heard of this, it's called the tallestdonationbox.com. You know, they're trying to turn the Burj Khalifa into the world's tallest donation box. And by what they're trying to do is sell light bulbs. They want to sell 1.2 million lights on the Burj Khalifa, all to be lit up. And they're selling the light bulbs, you know, at, I think, starting at 10 dirhams a pop. Probably pop's not the right word to use on a light bulb. But they are selling the lights on Burj Khalifa for starting at 10 dirhams, and they want to sell 1.2 million lights, and they sold 200,000 already. Wow. And all the proceeds go to certainly the 10 million meals initiative started by the government for Ramadan, and also COVID charities as well, to like help the needy. So there is always, especially at Ramadan as well, there's always a good charitable cause being led by the leaders, being led by some very successful people who don't forget where they came from. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's really good to see the what's the right word? The generosity that comes with Ramadan, which is part of Ramadan that people don't always associate it with, but But I think as well, the world has opened itself up. I mean, family and friends are more important after what we've gone through. I mean, look at, he used to be Captain Tom Moore, didn't he? Just turned 100 the other day. Yeah. Now, Colonel Tom Moore. Now, Colonel, I thought that was a lovely touch. You know, for what he's done, he's last I checked, he'd raised over £31 million GBP pounds for charity for the causes. He set out to raise £1,000 by walking around his garden. Then it was 10,000, and now we're standing at 31 million. And he's just turned 100. And again, he just got promoted by the army, didn't he? As a beacon to all people. So he got over 140,000 birthday cards. That's ridiculous. It's amazing, isn't it? I saw the RAF flying over. I think if I was him, I'd have to say, look, you know, 31 million, I'm going to keep $1 million for me and my family. I hope that's understandable. I feel like I've done enough. And No. Yeah, great job. There's quite a lot of people doing different things, though, on a smaller scale. A lot of like the athletes and stuff doing. I've seen people doing triathlons around the garden, and you know, it's really good to see a lot of PE with Joe Wicks. And his beautiful wife now, who, as you can see from this athletic figure, that I do my PE with Joe Wicks every day. But they are, you know, they're doing fantastic. And again, every penny helps if it goes to the right cause, doesn't it? They're raising tremendous money amount for the National Health Service, and so many other celebrities are doing their bit as well. It's been a very tough time for the world, but some good things have come out of it for sure. Yeah, 100%. Any news on, I mean, nobody knows. Still to this day, we do not know when this is going to come to a definitive end. And I don't think it will until we get a vaccine, which who knows how long that's going to take. But everybody is always asking and trying to find out, where is there some light at the end of the tunnel? We've heard, or it was announced, that Emirates are going to start some flights off again. But as we mentioned before the podcast started, this is still only repatriation flights. Is that right? It is. That's right, yes. So you can get out of Dubai if necessary, but you can't get back just yet. Indeed. And again, just add some sort of meat to the bones there. Since this, the lockdown, if you like, worldwide started, Dubai has repatriated 37,000 people to 54 different countries. So, you know, if you do need to leave Dubai, there is that ability, but you're not coming back anytime soon, are you really? So, you know, it's as simple as that. So really, I don't think, as you just said yourself, we're not going to lose this. The fundamental way that we lead our lives and the world sort of leads itself, it's going to be changed. We're going to have spikes of this COVID-19 for the rest of this year into next year, even when the vaccines come as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's the new way of living. You know, it's got to be. The vaccines will come and they will help, but again, when you look at, I think there's certain countries, perhaps they'll remain nameless, that I think things are still very serious there. And we've just got to be very careful on who we mix with, because you don't know who you sort of come into social contact with, their provenance, you know, who they've been talking to, who they've been meeting, etc. Stay home. You know, as long as you can, stay home. And don't, I love going to the cinema. I love going out to eat. I love brunches. I love everything. But at the minute, common sense says stay home and let's see what happens. You know, let's be sensible. It's not great. You know, and our guest is coming on later today, and he's made his business from brunches, etc. Exactly. Be interesting to hear his thoughts, his comments on what they're doing to face up to this. Be very interesting. But going back to the point, you know, I'm what, mid-50s. I've got another 30 years on this planet, and I want to enjoy them, and I'm going to be sensible for the sake of another even 6 months or a year if I have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. But having said all that, I also read that if you do fancy a staycation for the first time, you can get out of Dubai by going to Ajman or Ras Al Khaimah. Okay. 2 hotels there are doing staycations. So if you are going stir crazy, locked in Dubai, you fancy a bit of peace and quiet, get yourself off to Ajman, to the Fairmont in Ajman, or get yourself off to the Waldorf Astoria in Ras Al Khaimah. Yeah. But beware, typical hotel situation at the moment in the United Arab Emirates, only 30% occupancy at the moment. So. Yep.
And if you're going to do it, beaches are open at these resorts?
Yes, they are. Social distancing. You're going to be 2 meters away on the sunbeds. Pass me the sun cream. No, but seriously, common sense. I think hopefully partners will be together. But the restaurants are open there, the pool, the beaches, the sunbeds are there, but they are going to be social distance apart 2 meters.
Okay, interesting. So it might be nice for people to get out, especially if they've been in an apartment and not really been able to get out and enjoy the weather or what's left of the weather. Have you been to any of those hotels? Do you enjoy staycation?
Yes, I have. I've not been to those 2. I've been to Abu Dhabi a couple of times for just one night to see the culture the next day at the Louvre, and seen the Grand Mosque, which was fantastic, very peaceful, very tranquil, and I enjoyed I enjoyed my trip to Abu Dhabi. And then I went to the Kingfisher Lodge, which I won't say too much about because I don't want everybody else discovering it. That is an absolutely fantastic place.
Hidden gem, is it?
It is a hidden gem. Big hunting lodge, safari lodges, hunting lodges directly onto the beach. There's only 20 of them. Beautiful. It's all in like canvas, etc., but proper. Beautiful plunge pool. See, I'm telling my secrets, and like before I know it, I'm able to get myself in there.
But as we speak,
yeah, Kingfisher Lodge, lovely, great place. I love it over there.
Interesting. I haven't heard of that before. Right. So quickly, I know we always do this. I think we need to leave ourselves a bit of a bigger gap. But I'll let you go first on this one, because usually I take over here and we never get to your point. So we're up to 10 to 30 million dirham budget. Is that right?
It is indeed.
Okay, so we've been given a magical gift of 30 million dirhams. Where are you going to spend it in Dubai, and why?
Okay, as I say, I'm not going to go. I'm going straight for the kill. I once showed somebody a contemporary 7-bedroom mansion in District 1. And I'm old school. I'm from a farm in Yorkshire. I like green and peace, hence my Al-Barari from the segment before. But I saw this contemporary, brand new built 7-bedroom mansion with a nice sized plot, beautiful pool, subterranean parking for 4 or 5 cars, plus other bits and pieces. But the most beautiful thing about this was great contemporary, great design, massive high ceilings. Yeah. But outside, great plot. At the bottom of the garden, there's a gate down for 5-6 steps, and then you're onto a beach. And just off the sand, beautiful soft sand, is the lagoon. I think everybody's heard about District 1 Lagoon,
Yeah.
the world's largest man-made swimming pool, 7 kilometers long of fresh water. You can waterboard, you can kayak, you can swim. It's fantastic. It's like, where else in the world do you see that? And then what really sold me, I turned around, there was this beautiful contemporary villa, and then the backdrop was Burj Khalifa and downtown. And in fact, all three of us just stood there and went, wow.
Yeah.
Dubai. This is Dubai. Right, that's me. Right, what would you spend your money on?
I have to agree that the lagoon that they're building at District 1 is super impressive. I don't think too many people know about it. If you're not living in Dubai, you're probably not. You probably wouldn't have seen it. Even if you are, you probably wouldn't have been into District 1 unless you've got friends there. But it's going to be amazing. And here's a fact. I think I was probably one of the first people to swim in the lagoon. I did a video on the Mediterranean mansion.
Yeah.
A huge 85 million dirham mansion. It's on my YouTube channel. You can see the link here.
Nice.
But it was ice cold. It looked like a really nice day, but I can honestly tell you it was ice cold. But I guess, it's just something that you'd never get to do anywhere else. And 7 kilometers of fresh water. It's just out of this world. It's going to
and again, I mean, all District 1 is going to be serviced by the new mall, isn't it? Which it's got the ski run, 2 or 3 times as long as Mall of Emirates.
Yeah, I think 3 times bigger than the Mall of Emirates, which just blows my mind.
Yeah.
They've got.
Have you ever done that? Are you a skier or a snowboarder?
You know what? I can ski, but I've only ever done indoor skiing. I've never actually been out real skiing. But I remember I learned to ski because I was doing business at college, and part of the course was to plan an event. So we all decided as a group to do an event at the Chill Factory in Manchester. Okay. And I had an argument with somebody to say that, look, skiing's pretty easy. I'm sure anybody can do it. It's not difficult. And they're like, you can't ski. You've got to practice. You can't just turn up and ski. So I got some lessons booked ahead and thought that it would be easy. And I went straight into the advanced class, stood at the top of the Chill Factory in Manchester with not a clue what to do, and started to build up speed on my first run down. And
in a straight line?
Straight line.
Oh, God.
Couldn't stop until I hit the barriers at the bottom. And realised at that point that you do need a little bit of practice to
you do. You need a little bit of skill for the old traversing across the slopes, don't you? Yeah,
you do. But I did pick it up quite easily, so I can ski officially. But never been on a ski trip as such. But I'd definitely like to try the Mall of the Emirates one, and then in the future try the new world's biggest indoor ski spot.
Yeah. Now, again, I used to go skiing when I was younger, and I've never snowboarded, but I think I'm too old for that. So, well, you're never too old, but I think I've got a 20-year-old son, so I always say, come on, John Marco, get snowboarding. I just want to see, almost live my dreams to him. Come on, John Marco, get snowboarding. But those days will come.
Snowboarding is I think snowboarding is too cool for me. I think the only people that snowboard, you've got to be super cool. It looks very, very. It looks a lot of fun, but I'm sure it's not easy. Right, I'm going to have to keep my answer on hold till next week because we've now got Nick Purvis on the call. So let's add him in and have a good chat and catch up with Nick. So there we go. He's usually a bit of a delay. Nick, can you hear us? Are you on? You on mute?
Hiya, mate. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
How's everything? You're back at home, right? You're in England?
Yeah, mate. I got the last flight back, luckily.
Did you?
How long you been there?
God, how long have I been here? It must have been...
Since the lockdown started, right?
Since the lockdown started, maybe like 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, it'd be about 5 weeks.
And how long were you expecting to go back for?
I didn't really have a set time, So basically, long story short, I had a lot of operations last summer.
Right.
And I need one more. So I kind of thought, like, well, I need to come back anyway. So I'll come back when I get it done. However long lockdown goes on for, I'll get the operation done at some point and then come back. So I didn't really have it's quite flexible for us, so I can be anywhere really. So that time it was just kind of, I'll go with it and see what happens. So it's not a massive problem.
Nick, I've got to say one thing. I think you're the first person we've had as a guest who's wearing a Nick Cable jumper on a podcast. Everybody in Dubai, I think it's like 39 degrees today, so everyone's in t-shirts, and you're making people feel hot wearing a jumper.
Newcastle is very different from Dubai, as you can imagine.
And you're looking fresh as well. You've had your hair done, which not many people
I actually had to try and cut it myself, so it might look okay on here, but if you get close, it doesn't look okay.
It looks all right from the front. It's a brave move, mate. It's a brave move to cut it yourself. Because we saw each other, didn't we, at the Atlantis just before all this madness ensued. And my friends were staying. They managed to get the very last flight back to Manchester, which was really lucky because they would have been stuck here the whole time. I don't know what would have happened. But yeah, it just seems to have gone crazy since that day.
So how are you guys finding over there now? I mean, I know they've lifted this lockdown a little bit.
Yeah, it's, to be honest, like I can't complain too much. It's not been that difficult. Everybody, I'm in a one-bed apartment in Marina Gate, which seems like it might be difficult, but we've got the balcony and everything delivers in Dubai. I think it's been much easier here than my friends have had it back home. Because literally, I didn't step a foot out of the apartment for 4 weeks, but it was fine. Like we got everything ordered. Didn't really feel like it was too difficult, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think you found it harder, Richard, right?
No, again, there's a lot worse places. I've got a nice garden, so I can chill out. And as Liam said, everything now. I mean, everything. And this is where Nick's going to come in. But everything's deliverable, even your brunch experience.
We're trying little bits, but yeah,
different though, isn't it? And you do miss that. Again, and I'm not a great bruncher, but I have actually been to about 3 Candypant brunches, which is probably at least 2 times more than any other brunch I've been to. But you do miss that social contact. We are sociable creatures, so it has been a challenge, sort of to keep ourselves occupied. And and I miss that Friday sort of like thing to go out or whatever, just that for social contact.
That's what's interesting. I think it seems to have affected, kind of extroverts and the people who really go out a lot more than maybe people would realize. It's not the people you would normally look to and think, maybe they'll be lonely or they will normally struggle because they're normally very outgoing and confident. But because they're in a situation which they really don't like, they seem to be the ones who definitely seem to have found it harder than, say, the people who, are quite happy sitting watching Netflix or whatever.
That's me, yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. It is. I think some people are struggling with the lack of social interaction. But, I mean, Dubai seems to slowly... we're coping well, figures-wise. Dubai is not affected anywhere near the level that we've seen back home in England. So we're slowly beginning to get back to some sort of normality. And it is nice to get outside and drive around and see real people. But yeah, any signs, like what's happening back home? Are they easing lockdowns at all? Has there been any news on that?
I think they're starting to discuss it now. I think the frustration is that, they haven't laid out this will happen then, and this will happen then, and this will happen then, which, someone said this to me the other day and I thought it was quite interesting. They said, look, if I said I was going to punch you in the face as hard as I could and you could choose, it would either be right now or at any point in the next 24 hours. The punch is exactly the same, but not knowing when it would come would be so much worse. And I think that's what people are struggling with, just the not knowing. Again, I'm aware that all the Candypants stuff will be the last thing ever to get lifted. So for me, I'm kind of like, right, well, you just go with it and see what it'll be. But yeah, I think it's just the uncertainty that's bothering people. But in terms of when it will be, I honestly, like I say, my guess is as good as anybody else's. But I think that they're talking about it, but how it will play out over the next few weeks.
I'm sure it'll be very gradual and slow, and obviously, hopefully, well considered and thought out. Right, well, let's get into it a little bit more about you, Nick. Obviously, you're back home now in Newcastle, and that's home for you. How did it all kind of start off with the industry that you're in now, with kind of Candypants and that kind of thing?
I mean, I kind of fell into doing nights. I was never somebody who kind of grew up and thought that's what I want to do. I mean, kind of not many kids at careers day are saying they want to run Candypants or be a promoter or whatever. But it's essentially, like, long story short, I was at uni. At uni, I was doing a politics degree. At the time, I really wanted to be a journalist.
Nice.
Politics? That was what I wanted to do, a politics degree, yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm kind of the most nerdy promoter in the world, really, like overqualified. And But yeah, so I was at uni, and I just had some friends who basically ran nights in Newcastle who I knew, and they did nights. And when I went down to uni in Sheffield, they said, "Oh, look, we've got some other lads who work for the same company as us. They're running an event in Sheffield. When you go down, there's his number. If you want to go out, let them know."
Yeah.
So, and it just became that thing where I then met the guys in Sheffield, and I went to uni and it seemed to be the majority of the people who were going out were at Sheffield Hallam, which is, the Met uni. So we were the only, I was taking there was like a big load of us from uni going down, but that was quite rare. So I think they kind of recognized that and went, hold on, this lad's bringing all the uni kids down, and we don't know anyone up there. So long story short, after a while he was like, "Oh, Nick, if you come down, we'll give you £2 a person you bring down." I was probably like 18, 19. I'm thinking £2 a person. There's like 30, there's 30 of us rocking up here. And they're like, "Oh, you can just have drinks, or we'll give you drinks and stuff." So I was thinking, "Oh, this is all right." And then it went from there, and then they were like, "Oh, well, why do you want to maybe like work on the door?" And I mean, they gave me a clipboard, so I thought that I was the most like important person ever. And then from there, basically a new nightclub opened in Sheffield, and they just said, "Look, we've been offered this new night, a new nightclub. It's not really going to be a student night. It's going to be very different. It's going to be more high end and more like a cocktail bar type thing rather than an average student night that's, sticky floors, like big room type thing."
Yeah.
They were like, "Would you fancy running it?" So I was like, "Well, I don't know anything about running nights, but kind of my uni course was 6 hours a week." So I was like, "Well,
you've got the time.
Fair enough," you know what I mean? And I kind of thought I could make some money. So I did a bit of that for a while. And this night just kind of like took off. And I mean, I just kind of got quite invested in it. And I was really interested in how it worked and how you could get the business side of it. And it just did pretty well. And then Candypants had been running for quite a while. That launched in 2008.
Okay.
But Candypants was a lot more premium. So Candypants was very much that kind of young professionals event.
So Nick, so sorry. So what was the birth? Candypants was born in the UK, was it?
Yeah. So Candypants started back in 2008 in Leeds. Kind of built off the back of the recession, really. Aimed at that crowd of young professionals. Very much kind of the gap was in the market of if you were a footballer and you want to spend lots and lots of money, there was something for you. And if you wanted to go to if you were a student and you wanted to do £1 drinks and go to a big room rave type atmosphere, there was something for you. And there was also a bar element in the middle, but nobody had done the middle for a nightclub, which was kind of young professionals. It was accessible, but it was also a bit exclusive and that kind of thing. Yeah. So Candypants was built off that. And it was predominantly in Leeds, Manchester. And Ray, who owns Candypants, had said to me, "Look, I really want to bring Candypants to Sheffield. You've got this night in Sheffield. Would you be interested in doing like a night together on like a bank holiday?" And for me, I mean, I was like 19 or something. I knew I was quite into nights by that point, and Ray Chan was quite a big person to me. It was like, the industry leader, this guy that ran Candypants, and that was all over the UK. So I kind of jumped at that, and we just got on really well. And I liked the fact that, a lot of people who run nights are just there to get pissed and just like, it's a bit of a night out and a bit of a, because they've got an ego or whatever. But Ray, it was a proper business, and there was real kind of an approach to it and a strategy to it and potential for growth and all the rest of it. And I just really enjoyed that. And then it went from there, really. So trying to cut a long story short, the Sheffield thing started. I was still at uni, and then Ray kind of convinced me to go and work for Candypants in Marbella. So I did 2 years in Marbella, kind of working for both the nightclub that we worked for there and Candypants, and did 2 years there where we do kind of boat parties, we do beach parties, do a lot of things in Marbella. But that was very much just a summer thing. Again, I was just kind of in between uni, like uni terms. I'd go to Marbella in the summer, and it seemed like a bit of a laugh. But again, one of those things where I was probably earning money at that age, but I couldn't have got a uni part-time job and earn that kind of money. Yeah. And I loved it, you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you? Yeah. And then I suppose how did I end up in Dubai as just a classic 21-year-old boy who like falls in love with some girl who thinks she thinks this is the best thing since sliced bread. Turns out not to be. But, and she got a job for Emirates, and I was just kind of young and naive, and I was like, oh, well, if you're going to Dubai, I'll go to Dubai. I've never even been. So,
and at this point, Candypants wasn't in Dubai, and you hadn't thought about. Is that right, or was Candypants being talked about?
So Candypants had done little bits in Dubai in about 2013. So they'd kind of nipped in. They did a few things at Cirque du Soir, which is one of the nightclubs there, and Mavida. But they were doing like once a month. But it was at the point where Dubai hadn't really taken off to where it is now. Marbella was at that point. And just as the dynamics of a smaller company, we were having to like fly DJs out there and a team out there. And it just almost made no sense to go all the way to Dubai. At that point when we needed to focus on Marbella, because that's at the time, no one was really talking about Dubai. So when I went, things were just starting to change. There was just starting to be a little bit of this talk of Dubai. People were starting to go on holiday. So at that point, the door was, well, if Nick's there, let's see what we can do.
Awesome. And but that was kind of your first sort of step into that here in Dubai was the brunches, right? Was that something you were doing in Marbella as well, or was that just because of the environment in Dubai, brunches were so popular?
No, honestly, we had never even been we didn't know what a brunch was. Like, I hadn't been to a brunch until like 2 years after we started Candypants brunch, just because I never had time. It was just a simple thing of we got offered a brunch at Excel, which was at the Habtoor Grand Hotel. We'd never really been to a brunch, but we just knew what the Candypants model was, and we're kind of like, right, well, we know what a club light looks like. We know what a boat party looks like, and a beach party. There's a bit of a DNA that sits across a lot of them. And we're like, well, we can kind of piece together and learn as we go how this brunch thing works. But we didn't have a clue.
So when was the first Candypant brunch in Dubai then?
So this is like back in 2014.
All right.
I remember we showed up with, a bag of all these Candypants.
I remember it well. I remember you going out and trying to find these inflatables, like really sort of last minute rush put together. And at the time, people were like, what's he doing? Like,
honestly, I remember we showed up with bin liners full of these party props. And I remember these, like, the management of this hotel looking at us and just, oh my God, like, who on earth are these idiots? Like, what on earth are they doing? And it just like the novelness on their face, just like, and we were just kind of like, yeah, no, it's weird. Just kind of go along with it. It was too last minute to try and explain to them why we did this. We were like, look, just go with it and see what you think. And yeah, I mean, for that first one, like, I dragged everyone, like anybody who I possibly knew. I mean, people who I'd met like once. I was like, please, can you just come to this? Like, because I didn't know anyone in Dubai. It wasn't like in Marbella or England. And I think the first one we got maybe like 100 people there. And the second one, maybe there was like 30. I remember the third event. The third event was just before Christmas, and there was like 13 people there.
Oh dear!
Like, oh my God! But we thought, this model works because people. You have to think back to when this was brunch-wise in Dubai. There was a lot of brunches, nowhere near the many there is now. But there was Bubblicious Saffron. That was really it in that fun element. They were at an incredibly high price point. So it didn't really take a rocket scientist to figure out that, hold on, there is actually a market if you can do that fun thing somewhere a little bit more accessible price point. And we also looked at those ones that were doing well. It was like, something like Saffron. What we didn't like about a brunch concept was very much it was, there's your table, there's a buffet, and there's some food. That's it. And we kind of thought, well, surely there's so much more to that. Like, surely you can make an experience for someone and actually kind of create that rather than just being kind of like, off you go, have a good time.
I can remember the very first Candypants I went to. I think it was about only the second or third brunch I've been to. But every single table actually mingled and got involved with each other, whether it was the props or whether it was just the atmosphere. other brunches, as you say, like Saffron, it's quite, the people you go with is the people you tend to stick with. You go to a Candypants brunch, and before you know it, you're kissing and dancing and like swapping oversized glasses and like big silly hats with complete strangers, and you're living it. And you're like, it's great. It really did sort of break down sort of barriers very, very easily. I can still remember that first one and just loving it. I really enjoyed that first one, and that's what's that, 5 years ago, and I can still remember it. So that says a lot.
I mean, do you know what? I mean, firstly, that's so amazing when you speak to someone says that they had a memorable time at something that you've done. Like, it's great. Like, but I think that even the props thing, I think a lot of people, people laughed at us when we came and did it. Like, they thought, like, what are they doing? But there was quite a bit of thought behind that. We'd, especially in Marbella, and that was when we really realized, well, this actually really works, because suddenly it didn't matter whether someone was at the bar spending €5 or they were on a table spending 5,000. If they're both wearing a silly hat, it's kind of a leveler. And it made people more accessible. People would interact with each other. People might fancy a girl but not be able to speak to her. But the top hats were there, and it was a conversation starter. And there was a lot of those things that I think people thought that we just lobbed them in for a laugh. As I say, they all laughed at us when we did it. But
excellent.
I think it shows you just weren't afraid, really, were you? You weren't afraid to try new things. Although, like you said, some people perhaps laughing and not really taking you seriously. You just went for it. Was there anything, I would imagine there is, was there anything that you tried that didn't really work? When you had like 13 people turning up, did you ever think, look, this is, it's not going to work? Did you ever go through some...
I was really lucky that I had like kind of Ray with me. Like, Ray founded Candypants, and kind of he went on to, without going into his story, like he went on to own the nightclub Candypants started in, restaurants and nightclubs in the UK. And he's like 10, 15 years older than me. So it was quite useful to have someone there who's kind of been through this process before, and a bit of a mentor and a guide. So when I was panicking that there was 15 people there, he was the one who was going and saying, Nick, it's fine. There's 15 people. It's always week 2 and 3 of any event are always harder, because you can always pull on your mates to come to the first one. Like, we've always said that anybody can put an event on. Anybody can promote one event. Everybody knows enough people or has enough friends to get them there. Where you find out who knows what they're doing is when it gets to like week 3 and 4, and your mates aren't going to come every week. He was. So in terms of things we tried, I used to try different things every week that some people wouldn't notice. But I think the hardest thing we had, which probably I think some people now will still be their impression, was the fact that what people don't understand about brunch, for us anyways, we're just kind of a glorified marketing team. Like, we put on the entertainment and we do all the advertising, but we weren't in charge of the food, we weren't in charge of the staff, we weren't in charge of their bar service. And that was really difficult, because without putting blame on other people, there was an element of the venue we were with at the time. That wasn't their focus. They kind of did see us as maybe as a little bit of a cash cow, and they didn't understand that we really need to get this buffet better. And unfortunately, we became associated with maybe bad food and maybe some bad drinks. But the blessing of that was we put so much thought into everything else. Maybe it's the wrong way, because we had to pay for the cracks.
True. Again, I think on the second and third, there was like 1 or 2 elements of that, but we came away still thinking, well, the food wasn't great, but the entertainment was fantastic. We had a good time. So it was a good Friday.
Yeah, and that was something that was quite hard for me, because I was quite personally invested in it at the time. It was just me in Dubai. Like, I was there on my own, and anything that was like, if there was anything that wasn't right, I used to really find it quite difficult to deal with. But when it was something like that, where it was completely not in our control, but people didn't understand that, and not only they didn't understand it, they didn't really care whose control it was in. They would just look at it and be like, yeah, the food's not great, or this. But so that's probably why it became so wild, because Candypants is wild. We purposely looked at it and went, right, we need to find ways of, because we figured out quite quickly that anybody will, once they've had a couple of drinks, any issue was kind of less of a problem. So we needed to try and narrow that gap and put as many layers on top of the perhaps not great buffet or whatever else, or the tablecloth wasn't brand new. We needed to put new things on top of that. I think, right, well, how can you distract from that? Which I suppose is why we got creative, and probably what made it a bit more fun.
So how many sort of, on an Well, once Candypants was established, what was the average head count? How many were you sort of like producing for on a Friday?
We were doing like roughly about 300 to 400 people. I mean, it went everything from, don't get me wrong, there was some weeks where, you know, you'd have a quiet week that might be 100 odd people if you were in December or something. But, you know, I remember we did all up to 1,000 people for a mega brunch, which
1,000?
Like 1,000 people, which had gone a long way from the 13 people in the first December. So.
1,000. Goodness me, yeah.
That's got to be some sort of record in Dubai, surely.
We did look into it. I think that like Alcázar and stuff, you know, there's ones that are just spread across so much space.
Yeah, about 7 different restaurants.
Yeah. But when they're all in one space, it looks, I mean, 1,000 people is a big number on a spreadsheet when you've got the bookings. When they show up,
I bet you slept well that night. I bet when it was over, you slept well that night. I bet you were stressed before, but collapsed in a heap at the end of it.
Oh, I mean, I didn't sleep much in the week before, I'll tell you that. I was just, because that was the hard thing, because it was just me. I used to do everything. People used to book via email to my personal email. So it became a thing where it was like, well, I want to speak to Nick.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that multiplied by 1,000 people. It was just, I knew if anything went wrong, it's me they come hunting for.
Yeah.
Indeed. So tell us some great stories or some disasters that you've managed to avert at the last minute. What's the funniest story you've had from Candypants experience?
Put you on
you know what? I mean, we get asked this quite a lot because obviously, like, there's just so many things. Like, I mean, I must like the big one that I think anyone can relate to is like to have Justin Bieber at the brunch was.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, you know, we looked at that after and went, you know, arguably he was probably the biggest celebrity on the planet.
How did that happen? How did that come about?
So yeah, it's a strange story. So the day before, I'd started getting all these phone calls from this guy being quite demanding, and this was the point where we were kind of at our peak in popularity, and you could not get booked in for that brunch unless you booked in 2 or 3 weeks in advance. But this guy's ringing me, this American guy, giving me like a really hard time, being like, you need to get this table in, 14 people tomorrow. And I'm thinking, but he was asking a lot of weird questions like, what's your accessibility from the beach? What's your accessibility from the sea? How many exits do you have?
And you had no clue who he was talking about. Like,
the thing was, it got to a point where people were doing this kind of thing to try and get tables all the time.
Right.
Not as extreme as this, but you'd get people saying stupid stuff like, you know, I know the Habtoor family, or so it was we're getting quite a lot of it. So I kind of just was like, look, in the end, I just said, look, I can't really help you much. Like, this is my email. I will email you tomorrow if anything comes up. And he's like, look, no problem. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I remember his email address ended with the company. I just thought, yeah, he'd rang me so many times. I was like, I'm going to look into this now. So I just Googled his email address, and it happened to be a Canadian management company. And I remember that Justin Bieber was on in Dubai that weekend, and just thinking to myself, isn't Bieber Canadian? And I've just mentioned this in a management WhatsApp group to the lads, and just said, look, like, I've had these phone calls, like, obviously Bieber's in Dubai. And one of the lads famously said, look, if Bieber comes to brunch, it's more likely pigs will fly. Not a chance. Not a chance. And so we didn't think anything more of it. Again, the brunch was the next day. You're talking, it's probably like 1:15, brunch starts at 1 o'clock. And the head of security for the hotel, who you very rarely saw, came running down, sweating, like in his suit, and he's like, Nick, Justin Bieber is coming now. And I'm thinking, like, eh? And they were like, yeah, he's literally walking through the hotel now. So the Candypants girls were all there. They were like weeing themselves with excitement. I'm thinking, when is we going to put them? Like, what? Like, do you know what I mean? How awkward this is going to be? We're not going to have a table for him. Luckily, like, somebody hadn't come, and I was like, sorry, but snooze, you're losing this game. Like, your table's gone. But yeah, he came in, and the funny thing was, he went straight up to the bar to try and get a drink, and obviously the Indian waiter didn't know who he was.
No
so
way.
You know, the Indian waiter's just going, he hasn't got a wristband.
Yeah, we're not serving you. No wristband. Go away.
And I went over and I was like, look, he can have what he wants. And in fairness, he was actually very nice, and he was kind enough to say, look, like, oh, like, thanks a lot. Like, how's your day? And I'm thinking, how's my day? Like, it was quite time until you arrived. But the only thing that struck me from that I always say to people is, I just think that when I thought about it after, I just felt sorry for him. People were, I mean, and there's videos that we've got, and people are like trying to like just walking past, and people are trying to like get selfies with him. And he had his own head of security. So I mean, the kid was 17, and he was there on his own with 5 security, which made us think a little bit like, isn't that a bit of a lonely life?
Bit sad, isn't it? Really, in real terms.
Yeah. And I said to one of his head security was there. I said to him, I was like, God, like, is it like this everywhere? And the guy just laughed. He was like, this. He goes, this is nothing. He said, do you want to see what happens when we go to like Brazil or South America, where the schools close and we have to get the police so we can get through the city centre? So you think, God, like that must be quite draining everywhere you go. But it's a good story. Did he join in?
Was he dancing? Was he mingling? Was he wearing the glasses?
He had. Do you know what the story about props? And this is I never live this down. So we managed to get. We have got these Candypants fans that I remember this. Yeah. So we've got a fan to him, and I'm thinking this is fantastic. Somebody needs to get a picture of this. Anyway, he's then walked across the beach, and he's had a picture taken with him and his friends walking across the beach, and he's got this fan, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I think he had something like 90 million followers on Instagram at the time, and he posts this picture, but he's holding the fan the wrong way. And about a year earlier, I'd thought, let's just get one-sided ones because they were half the price. It served me right.
I think there's a business story in that, isn't there? There's a moral in that story somewhere.
Yeah. There's a branding lesson in that. Don't cut costs.
I'm going to use that one when people are giving you low offers on property, or they're trying to get a cheaper option.
But that would have been it. I could have just retired at that point. The impact was just phenomenal. Like, I mean, our website crashed that day because there's all these people who want to know where he goes and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
So it was fascinating.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So talk to us a bit about, obviously, Candypants then, or not so much then, but Candypants at the start to where it is today has changed so much. Yeah. What, up until this sort of crazy situation we've got, but how did you grow to where you are today in terms of you've got different locations, different nights that you're doing and different events? What was the, how did it all go?
When we started once the brunch was going in Dubai, by that point we had kind of 4 or 5 cities in the UK, which we did kind of once a week. So like Newcastle every Friday, Sheffield every Saturday, Birmingham every Saturday, that kind of thing. Then we still had the things in Marbella, which ran twice a week in the summer. And about a year into doing Dubai, we got an offer to do Ibiza. So we started doing Ibiza and stuff, which was a more kind of brunch concept, but at night, like dinner parties and stuff. And then a few pool parties during the day. And then other things started happening. So that was when kind of we started doing the Formula One stuff, which was like huge for us. Things like the Rugby Sevens and doing those kind of more special events. And then we just grew out from there. So we started doing things like we went to Qatar, we did Abu Dhabi, which we carried on from the Formula One, but we stayed there. We do Oman recently, which was quite cool. And then we went to America.
The brand grows.
Grew out from there.
So that was in Vegas, right? How was that? Was that like a one-off special event that you had in Vegas?
So initially we did Miami.
Okay.
So the guys we do the brand. So SDK are like a steak brand, a restaurant brand. So we worked with them in Ibiza, Dubai, and then they wanted to do a thing for Miami Music Week. They wanted to do something like kind of Ibiza and party kind of comes to Miami. So we did a special for Miami Music Week in Miami, which is just like amazing. And then the Vegas thing came about. So we did Vegas the week of the Conor McGregor fight because they realized, they were like, look, there's going to be so many expats here. We need to try and attract some expats. Because interestingly, you don't realize, but when you actually speak to these venues like Cosmopolitan in Vegas, I didn't realize, but they don't really give much weight to international tourists. Because it's such a small percentage of the people who go. The majority of people who go are American.
So,
and I mean, you're talking like 80% is American or Mexican.
So there you are. You've got a venue in Las Vegas, and obviously there's some expats in town. How many tickets did you have to sell? How many seats did you have to fill to make it worthwhile, to make it work?
So we did a pool party in Vegas rather than a brunch. And kind of every event you do is slightly different. It wasn't really kind of the business models are a bit different in America, where we weren't tied to, well, you need to do this many people. It was a case of, there was a platform for you. We know what we will normally do on a normal day, but we think that you lot can come in and give it an extra 10, 20, 30% on top. So yeah, I mean, it was one of them things where, I mean, let's see your billboard in Vegas, like on the Vegas Strip. Like,
as you do. Yeah.
It's mind blowing. Like, one of the lads got a tattoo of Route 66, but Route Candypants on his arm, because he'd said years earlier, he's a DJ, and he said, if you can ever get me a gig in Vegas, I'll get a Candypants tattoo. So like 2 years on, to think it was there, like, it was crazy, but that was
good.
It was a nice place to be 10 years in.
Yeah, 100%. So, and what in Dubai? Talk to us about what you had going on. So you had the relationship with STK, where you were having events on Tuesday nights, I think.
Yeah. So
you got the new venue at the 5.
Yeah, so we're kind of doing like 6 events a week now, 5 events or 6 events a week in Dubai. So we do a Monday at a venue called Bungalow, which is down in Lamere.
Yeah.
Then we've got Tuesday at STK Downtown. Then we have a Thursday, we do all day and night at the 5 JVC, which is similar to the Palm. We also have a Thursday in Abu Dhabi. And then we have a Friday at Made in Shanghai, again in the 5 Hotel, but on the Palm. And then we have a Saturday at Penthouse.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's non-stop. And are you involved in all those? Can't be.
No, honestly, I mean, to be honest, it's so different now. So I used to be at that brunch, I was there from start to finish. But I mean, I haven't been at, I think I've probably been at less than maybe 20 or 30 events this year. Big things like Formula One, I'll be there. But for a mix of reasons, kind of, we've got a team now and different people do different things, but no one can do that. Like, you can't be there all the time.
No, as much as you try. And what's the future hold for Candypants? Where are you going with all this?
So, I mean, we're just kind of trying to essentially like develop into a little bit more of a lifestyle brand, to be honest. We've now got swimwear. Yeah. So some guys who it's done pretty well. It's done along with another company who do a lot of stuff for Arcadia, who are like Topshop and stuff. Yeah. So they're doing swimwear for us, which it just fits in quite nicely, because we do pool parties and have swimwear, and for them it's nice to have a backstory to a brand rather than it just being swimwear. It's got a bit more of a brand story to it. Yeah. So we've got that. We're just looking to do bigger things now, I suppose. Kind of, obviously we did 14 events at the Formula One this year. Yeah. And then we did 14. The Rugby Sevens.
So I think, listen, boys, I think we need the DubaiLife Podcast from Formula One, hosted by Candypants in November on the yacht in the middle of the racetrack. That's my personal humble opinion. That's my personal humble opinion on it.
How did you first get in to do the Formula One? How did that come about?
Again, that was another one that was just like so last minute, where Ray, who's my boss, he'd been over in Dubai. He'd been out for dinner on the Thursday night. Bear in mind, this is 10 days before the Formula One. And he'd been out for dinner with a few people from industry people. Yeah. Some guy had been there and said, "Oh, this is Ray. He owns Candypants." Anyway, at the end of the dinner, some guy came up to him and said, "Oh, look, I've got a problem. I have this yacht. I was going to try and sell tickets for the yacht party for the Formula One, but it's my yacht, and it just hasn't really come off." If he's got the yacht and he's just thought, "Look, I'll put it in the best position. I'll just sell the tickets." But like, obviously, there is a bit more to it than that. It is quite difficult, especially with something like that. And he just kind of said, "Look, I think it was between us and Nicky Beach at the time." He said, "Look, I've got 2. Nicky Beach might do it, but I've heard a lot about you guys. Like, would you be up for giving it a go?"
10 days before?
10 days before. So this then didn't really get signed off until about a week before. So the event was this Sunday, and I remember, the event started it would have been the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On the Saturday prior, Ray, our boss, was like, "Look, mate, you need to come round to my apartment. This is happening." And we literally just had to sit. I think we sat for about 18 hours straight, just pulling everything together, like website details, pricing, artwork, DJs, who's going to DJ at what time, How are people getting there? All this stuff. And then we just banged out these e-flyers. And I guess we were a little bit lucky that year. It was the year where nobody was doing the yacht thing. Everybody thought there'd be something going on, but nobody had done it. So when we put it out, suddenly it was like, oh, well, we'll do it.
To get in
and we just did that thing of just going like, it's probably the hardest we've worked kind of relentlessly for 5 days, just like bang, 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 trying to squeeze everything out. And we somehow managed to pull it off. We just did the one day. We did the one day.
Yeah.
And how many did you attract in an intense week of marketing?
I think we did about 500 or something on the boat in the end. It's pretty good. Like, and then the next year he was like, look, do you want to do the same again, but you can do all the days? So we did all the days. And then this year we did all the days and all the nights, with the same guy really. So it's kind of just growing from there.
Amazing.
Wow.
It just shows you, doesn't it? When you get those opportunities, sometimes a lot of people just think, it's too much, we're not going to do it. But you just seem to have gone with it, and it's turned into something.
I think the big thing, I learned this from Ray, that Ray does this, and I picked up on it, that especially in our industry, as you can imagine, everybody likes to over-promise.
Yeah.
Whereas Ray is just quite keen to just be really honest and say, look, I can't promise you miracles. I can't promise you this. But I can promise that we'll be really transparent. We'll be really easy to work with. We'll be really professional. We'll do this, 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 and we'll do our best.
Yeah.
And I think people like that. And then we always try to over-deliver on what we promised.
Yeah.
And I think that was a bit of a fresh air to a lot of people in Dubai who would get various people come up to them and say, look, oh yeah, I'll do this, that, and the other. And then obviously maybe nothing comes of it. That's always just we've tried to do, really, just try to be like good to work with and be positive and go from there, really.
Good stuff.
Awesome. So like Dubai's kind of exploded since we both got here in 2013. I think you were similar. Where's the next? Do you see anywhere else that's kind of got the same dynamics as Dubai? Is there anywhere else you've got your eye on that you'd like to move into?
There is places, like I think there's obviously other places in the Middle East which, depending on what happens, they may kind of emerge. I don't think Dubai's going anywhere.
No.
America still for us is the big one. Nobody's ever from the nightlife wise from the UK. Nobody's ever really cracked that.
Okay.
And we're starting to realise there is a big market for that. That so many expats go to America. So not expats, kind of like British people.
Yeah.
And they don't know, they haven't really got anyone there who's like, oh, that's what you do.
Yeah.
They just kind of follow what they've kind of heard from other people.
Yeah.
So maybe.
But again, if you're dealing with, I know you say you're going to use the Brits in Las Vegas or wherever, but is there a different mentality when you go to country? Candypants in England, Candypants in the Middle East, Candypants in the USA. Is there a different mentality through sort of national identity that you've got to address, or is it just, hey, we're Candypants, we party, come and party?
So many, there's so many different examples of that, weirdly, the brunch concept just doesn't work the same in Dubai as it does in England.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. They just
Many have tried, I think, haven't they?
That's another question I was going to ask you. Is there such a thing as a Dubai brunch in the UK now? And is it taking off? Because when I came to Dubai, wow, what a great idea. What a great business plan. Yeah. Who does not like this? But what's happening in the UK about Friday brunching or Saturday brunching in the UK, as it would be?
On paper, it's essentially illegal because you're doing unlimited drinks.
Yeah.
And that basically breaks the 24-hour drinking rules. You can't do it. So there's various ways around it of doing things whereby they pay a price and they get so many tokens, and then they exchange those tokens for drinks and things like that. So there's ways you can do it, but I just don't know if it's when people who are coming holiday to a brunch in Dubai, they're not expecting what they walk into, but because everybody else there they maybe live in Dubai and they understand what it is and they've got that freedom to think, oh, I'm going to go wild because that's what people do. I just don't think that translates in England. They need enough people who are going, yeah, it's actually okay if you want to have a shot at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
And also I should imagine alcohol in the middle of the day in England isn't particularly a good idea for here in Dubai. Everyone's very well educated, very well behaved. I shouldn't imagine that you have too much problems, too much trouble. But in the UK, oh no, I can't see it being a good blend.
You know what, as well though, it's kind of like, it's just not the same with being, you know, at a really nice hotel in the sunshine to being in Newcastle in the wind and rain in February. It's like,
true.
It's a different dynamic. But I mean, the Middle East thing's been really interesting in terms of just going to different, even within the Middle East, you know, like Doha was incredibly different to Dubai. Oman is very different to Doha. They're all very different in their own way. You know, there's us arriving into a region like Oman, for example, with a name like Candypant.
Yeah,
we do have to be a little bit careful, and it does raise some eyebrows. There's a bonus of that. It's a huge talking point because it's like this like kind of wild brand from Dubai's coming here. Nothing comes here like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we were being watched. There was a number of things, so we need to be really careful here.
Yeah.
But it's a great learning experience, you know.
Just going back to the brunch idea in the UK, I got engaged last year, and we planned to have a big party back home, an engagement party. And I was thinking of what I could do, ideas, and there was a brand new venue which was really super nice. And I thought, I'm going to bring the brunch idea back to Dubai for an engagement party. So I called up the venue and I was like, look, the girl that I spoke to had been to Dubai, and I think she'd been to Candypants. And I said, you know how it works, right? So I want to give me a price per head, just unlimited drinks for 4 hours. You know, I'll just kind of, we'll work it out. And they just wouldn't do it. And I didn't know why until you said that it's kind of illegal. But they did come back with the token idea. And I'm like, no, I don't want tokens. Just give me the price.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we don't know how much people are going to drink. I'm like, well, just give me, like, just kind of work it out per head. And they just didn't get the concept. Just wouldn't work. So we had to, in the end, we just had to do like the buffet and have drinks separate. But it kind of makes sense now that you said it's almost illegal. But like you said, people just weren't buying into the idea either.
It's starting to come back. I mean, you're starting to see a few restaurants doing like bottom brunches, and they'll do prosecco based on the model of, you know, physically, because it's fizzy. You can only drink so much prosecco. Like physically, you know, it will take a very strange person to be able to drink 3 bottles of prosecco on their own.
Yeah.
Whereas beers or spirits,
you
find a certain character and you're opening the floodgates on.
It just seems so mad that we're in the Middle East. You'd never expect this to be the place where
that's the place where everybody
you'd never imagine it. All right then. So look, this is obviously the DubaiLife Podcast. You've been living here, I think, 7 years now. Have you been in Dubai?
About 6, I think. Yeah.
6. I think you were just after me. I'm 7. I was 2013. So talk to us about your perfect day in Dubai. If you could plan it, if you had no restrictions, and you know money was no object, and you could just left to your own devices, work's not a problem. What would you go? What would you do?
That's a good question. So I always say to people to try and do dune buggy racing in the desert.
Really?
I think
I've never done it.
We did it once. We had all of the DJs over for a New Year's Eve, and we did it on the morning of the New Year's Eve. We went out really early, so it was really foggy. And then as the fog lifted, we're out, and it was like being on Mars or something, because it's just desert as far as you could see. And obviously the lads who didn't live in Dubai, even for them, it was just like, this is insane.
Yeah.
So I love doing stuff like that and just kind of getting out of Dubai and not doing like just like probably like anyone else.
I mean, your day job is everyone's idea of fun relaxation, isn't it? So the last thing you want to do on your dream day is do your day job.
Yeah.
It's strange. I've probably been to more brunches than anybody in Dubai, but I've actually only done maybe like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's enjoyment.
It's the last thing I really want to do. If someone says, "Oh, what should we do on Friday?" But then so I've planned full day.
Yeah. Lunch and dinner. Your favourite places to take your partner or yourself for lunch, for dinner, and how you spend the evening. Yeah.
So let's think. So I mean, I would love to just start with something like that about the dune buggy racing. I'll have to give myself a plug and say that I do love either and this is me genuinely, I do like it, that we have like our new brunch after party at Made in Shanghai on their terrace outside.
Yeah.
I just think that it's like probably the best sunset view in Dubai on when it's a nice clear day.
Overlooking the marina. It's amazing, isn't it?
And it's just like, and it's the venue's really nice, and like the staff are brilliant. And I just love it there. So I'll probably say that as a nice little plug. And then
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and then my favorite place for dinner at the moment is Flamingo Room.
I've been.
On the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never been. Where is it and what is it?
Really good. So there's a girl. What's her name? Her name is
Tasha.
Tasha. She's got like a set of restaurants, hasn't she?
Yeah. I think she started off with Tasha's, but it's more of like a breakfast lunch vibe. They've got one in Dubai Marina Mall now, but I think the first one was in Jumeirah, and then I think she's got a Greek restaurant as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, they've got the decor in that.
It's awesome.
Tasha's Flamingo Room is like phenomenal. And the food's really good as well. So
yeah, did you try the what's the famous dish? The is it lobster thermidor? It's literally like a massive big lobster with pasta inside it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't ordering the lobster, so I mean, maybe I need to.
Next time, we'll have to try it. Yeah,
my other one is that Three Fills. That's my thing now. That Three Fills. If you haven't been there, it's like the local place. It's like a real foodie kind of called Three Fills, and it's dry. It's just like a really small local restaurant, and the stuff they do is just phenomenal. Like, it's really, really good. That would be my recommendation.
Where's that?
It's near where like the fish, kind of a little where Burj Al Arab is. There's that kind of like fishing area, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
Just on there. I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly if you just Googled it, but it's really worth a visit. It's not expensive or anything. It's really cool.
I'll try that. Definitely. There's a
Good
place
tips.
called, there's like an old, it used to be just a shack. It's called Bukatir.
Right.
And literally all they serve is fried shrimps and fish and one type of fish in like this curry sauce. And it's packed every single night. It's really good value, but the flavour is just unbelievable. You eat off like plastic plates and it's literally just a shack. But have you heard of Anthony Bourdain?
Yes.
He had his show, and when he came to Dubai, he went to that place and he said it's one of the best South Indian fish curries he's ever had.
I'll tell you another hidden gem, sticky rice in JVC.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fantastic. I was just there the other day, actually.
Good.
Yeah, I was doing some work up in JVC at the 5, had some viewings. So I actually stopped by because my partner's Thai. And she really rates the food there. About virtually all the Thai, certainly all the Thai takeaways, for example. That's the place, and so I picked up some beautiful Thai food. Yeah, it's a very good shout. Very good shout. Yeah,
I love it because it's so small. It probably does like 12 covers or something. Yeah, and it's really cool.
Indeed,
awesome.
Good tips.
Yeah, very really good.
Definitely check out the Flamingo Room and the Free Fields. Yeah.
And finally, Nick, I know you've dabbled in a bit of real estate in your time and obviously been living here for some time. Where's the dream place? Where would you like to live in Dubai? Obviously some amazing houses, something that me and Richard always talk about. If we had the budget, where would you go for?
Right, I need to find out where this is, but we've got a friend who's my boss's friend who kind of is involved in Blue Marlin and stuff, and he's just like a very, very cool guy.
Yeah.
Like his wife's the editor of that Harper's Bazaar magazine.
Okay.
And he has just built, he now works for the royal family as like a lawyer and stuff.
Okay.
And he's building a house overlooking, I don't really know exactly how this works, and I've just seen pictures, but it's like phenomenal. So they're obviously building kind of a Dubai zoo, but it's not a zoo in the thing of, Joe Exotic with, kind of like cages or anything. It's like almost like a wildlife park. And he's building a house that overlooks that.
Oh, wow.
So you can still see the sea, you can still see kind of Dubai, but you've got this kind of almost like jungly thing. He's built a house on the edge of that, and it's just amazing. I love the thing of getting away from the feeling like you're not in Dubai. That's like my favorite thing. If I can find somewhere, I'm like, I feel like I'm not.
Yeah, I get it. Oh, it sounds amazing. I think is it Richard? You might know. Is it what's that place called on your way to Abu Dhabi? with the new. They've got like there's deers roaming around, and
this is where it is. It's
Al Jaff.
Al Jaff.
Yeah, so it's coming, isn't it? I mean, halfway between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, just natural, beautiful wildlife forests and beaches where the local deer still roam. And there's been I think it's to do with the Abu Dhabi royal family. They're actually developing there, aren't they? But very sympathetic and very sort of like in tune with nature. And again, until very recently, to the last 6 months, only local buyers from the GCC could buy there. GCC even, and but now it's freehold, open for everybody to buy, and it's a real an hour from Abu Dhabi or an hour from Dubai maximum. It's by Gantu actually, isn't it? It's not too far from Gantu, so 40 minutes from Dubai, you're in a different world.
Yeah, sounds like the dream indeed. Thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate it. It's only taken me a year to get you on the podcast. But we finally managed to do it with the lockdown.
No, thank you very much for having me on.
Brilliant, Nick. Thank you. That was a really good one.
Yeah, really good. Where can people find you? Where can everybody follow you on social media? And you've got the podcast as well, the Candypants podcast. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we've launched just because obviously we're in lockdown. We can't do any events whatsoever. So we're just trying to be positive and just kind of do new things that we've wanted to do for a while. So we've started 2 different podcasts. We've got Candypants Radio, which is essentially a 1 hour a week radio show.
Okay.
Mainly new music that DJs are submitting, like their latest music.
Yeah.
So we've got that, and then I've done like just a lifestyle podcast, which is again just a little 1 hour a week.
Nice.
Just speaking to people from our industry, really, whether it be kind of like hotel owners, bar owners, restaurant owners, people who've done, maybe like they've been on reality TV and they're that kind of like, that celebrity type thing, and just trying to find, I guess, kind of the persona behind the real person behind that public figure that people see.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, I don't really care if anyone listens, to be honest.
It's really good.
Like,
honestly,
really
I've listened to it. It's really good. And I know a few people, our friends over here as well, have said good things. So definitely keep it up. We're all enjoying it.
Thank you very much.
There we have it, guys. So thank you again, Nick, for joining us. If you're listening on podcasts, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, you can please subscribe. If you're on Apple, give us a rating because it really helps with the rankings. And until next time, thank you so much and see you all again soon.
Bye.